Hello, it's Nancy with Better Life Blog, and today we are on lesson 2 of our Cutting Basics course. I'm really excited that you're here. You can totally do this. I know you've got your machine, you are ready to go, you want to learn how to use it. We're going to do it together. So now that you've got your machine set up, you've got your software installed, we are going to go through some exercises just to show you the basic functions of your software. And I've got this really great practice file with some exercises. We're going to go through each exercise. And as you go through each exercise, you're going to learn some of the different tools that are available to you in your software. It's not hard, but I'm going to walk you through it. So if you haven't already, make sure that you go to betterlifeblog.com/cuttingbasics so that you can download all the files that we're going to need throughout this entire course. We're going to be making some awesome projects together. I'm giving you some free files. This course is free. You've hit the jackpot. This is an awesome way for you to get going and learn how to use your machine.
For this unit, the only thing you'll need is Cricut Design Space installed in your account setup. And you'll also need a great attitude. This is going to be a fun lesson. Okay, so here we are in Cricut Design Space, and we've got our Cricut Design Space homepage here, and it's basically structured just like kind of like a website. The center section is the one that I want you to focus on. This is where your projects are going to reside, and you can see that here are some of my most recent projects that I was working on. You can kind of scroll through with these arrows on the left or on the right. And over here on the far left, you will see a white box with a plus sign that says new project. This is where we're going to create our brand new project. So just go ahead and click on that. And that brings us to our blank canvas. So there's nothing on it. And what we want to do for this exercise, we're going to do sort of a workshop where we're going to kind of practice some of the functions of Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to have you open up your project file, make sure that you have that downloaded and ready to go. If not, check the description box and make sure you go get that downloaded right now. And then once you're ready, go ahead and come back and we will upload this. This is a little cloud symbol with an up arrow. This is where you're going to upload your files. So click on that, and then you will click where it says upload image. Okay, and so you get this drag and drop section over here. Now you can either drag and drop your SVG file or you can go ahead and browse. So I've got my course cut files right over here. And this is going to be number 2, and this is the practice. So I'm using Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to take this practice svg.svg and I'm going to drag that over here. So what you can do here, you can give this a more specific name if you want. You can add some tags that could help you find this later on if you want. Totally up to you. And then in the lower right hand corner, you would just go ahead and click that green save button. And what that's doing is that's just going to save your image here. Now I still have to insert that onto my canvas. So I'm going to click on it and it highlights with a green outline. And in the lower right hand corner again, it says insert images. I'm just going to click that. And then what that's doing is that is dropping that onto my canvas. And so what we're going to do is we are going to go through each of these exercises, and I'm going to show you some common things that you will want to know as you are using Cricut Design Space for various cutting projects. So the very first thing that we're going to do, you'll notice that when I click on anything in here, it is all grouped together. You can see this light blue outline along the outside, and it's kind of hard to see. So I'm just going to zoom out a little bit, and you can do that by going to the lower left hand corner, and it's kind of hard to see because it's faint, but when I hover over it, it gets a little bit more solid. You can see that it says 100%. Let me zoom out just a little bit, just like that. So now I'm at a 75% view. So everything just shrank down. I've got my rulers on the top. You can see this is an inch marker. 1, 2, 3, these are inches. And then on the left-hand side, these are inches as well. So my object that I'm looking at,
again, it's got this blue outline over here, and it is showing me how wide it is. It's 9.5 inches and a little bit of change there, and then 9.5 inches tall as well. So what you can do, before, I'm going to ungroup these in just a second, but before I do that, you'll notice also that there are little circles on either side, on all the 4 corners of this box. If I were to click on this red X, that's just going to delete the whole thing. I'm going to hit, you can either hit Command or Control Z to undo, or up here in the upper left hand corner, there's a little arrow that will allow you to undo your most recent action. So I'm just going to undo that. And then over here, you can see that there is a rotate. You can actually click this and just rotate your image around. Okay, undo. And then in the bottom left-hand corner, there is a lock. And what this does is, if I do decide that I want to resize this, which I just gave away the fourth object, which is resizing. But if I wanted to resize this, right now, you'll notice that the proportions remain consistent. And so if I am shrinking it down, it's going to shrink down both the height and the width proportionally. And if I were to unclick that or click that so that it's unlocked, you'll see that this kind of changes a little bit, and I can now make it wider, longer, shorter, any which way that I like. So let me just go ahead and undo this action over here. Okay, so I've got my image. Let me just make it a little bit bigger here. And then what I'm going to do, and I want you to do this along with me, up here in the upper right hand corner, you'll see this little icon with these 2 boxes overlapping each other, and it says ungroup. So you can click ungroup. And so now I have ungrouped all of these individual pieces, and I can click on the different objects inside, and it's not all in one group. Okay, so each of these is a different exercise, and we're going to go through each one separately. And as you go through each exercise, you're going to learn something different that you will use as you are using Cricut Design Space. Okay, so the first one is slice. So what we're going to do, we've got this star shape here, and we've got this circle shape here. And what we want to do is we want to use the slice function. So I'm going to take this circle and I'm going to overlap it a little bit with the star. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and pull down my mouse so that there is a box highlighting both the star and the circle. So I've got both of them selected here, and you could even look over on this right hand side. There is this layers panel, and it shows me the circle layer and it shows me the star layer, and they're both highlighted because I have them both selected right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice, just as it says over here, and that is on the very bottom on this right hand corner, but it's on the left side. So I'm going to click slice, and what it does is if I click back over here, you can actually see that I have created a sliced object. So what it did was it took that circle. If I just undo here just a second, you can see that it took that circle and it sort of divided and merged them in an interesting way. So basically it's creating all of these different shapes together. So that is something that might come in handy with you as you are working with Design Space. Okay, so the second, let me just move these over here. Okay, so the second one, this may be one of the more common things that you use. Let me zoom in here just a little bit so you can see. Okay, so you can see that there are black lines around all of these pieces. So what would happen if I were to go and cut this? It would cut all of these pieces separately. Now, Usually when you're writing something in cursive, you want it all to be connected in one piece. You don't want them to cut the L and the O separately. You want it to be all one piece. So that is where weld comes in handy. So I'm going to click down, hold my mouse, and then drag it, and selected all 4 letters. And you could see in my layers tab, I've got 4 objects selected. And then what I want to do is I want to go down to the bottom here and I want to click weld. Okay, and you can see that those little lines that were over here have gone away, and this is now one singular piece. And you can even see over here on the right hand side where it says layers, there's the love, and it says weld result because this is the result of the welding. Now this is something that you can't ungroup later on. So the only way to undo this is by actually hitting the undo button. So this is a weld, which you guys, I know you guys are definitely going to use that a lot. All right, now if I move on to the next one, this is attach. Now weld and attach are kind of similar, but kind of different as well. So what attach is, now you can see that this is a group of stars in the shape of a circle. And over here on the right hand side, you could see that they're all, that they're all different layers, okay? Now, we're not gonna get too much into the make it button in this lesson because we're gonna actually make projects in the future lessons. But I just wanna show you what happens if I were to click make it. Okay, what it does when I click make it, what it's doing is it's taking all the different colors, it's separating them onto the different colored mats. So mat number 4 is the one that has all of my star shapes over here, and you can see that it took all of my stars and it put them into a long line. Now I don't want that because I want them in a circle. So I'm going to go ahead and click cancel. Okay, we're going to go back to our star shape and we're going to attach the star shape. So over here on the bottom right hand corner, I'm going to click on that little paper clip icon. Okay, it's just a little button there, and you can see that I've now attached it. And when I click back on here, you can see that in the layers panel, it is now grouped by an attach. Okay, so it's attached, and down here it says that I could also detach it if I changed my mind, but I want to leave it attached. And let me show you what happens when I click make it again. Okay, so let's go back to the 4th cutting mat, and we can see that we've got our stars in the shape of a circle. So, and the reason that it previously when it put the stars in a line shape, it's trying to be efficient. It's trying to arrange everything in the most efficient way possible. Like, for example, you can look up here at the black mat. It's kind of hard to tell, but all of the letters of all of the words are separated. That is convenient for no one. Okay, so what we would really do if we were actually cutting this, I'm going to hit cancel, is we would go through all of these words and we would attach them. Okay, and we would attach this one and we would attach this one. Okay, so now if I go back to the black mat, you'll see that I actually have, this is properly attached, this is properly attached. Okay, so, and there's the slice. So those were the 3 that I attached, and they all stayed together in one positioned in a relevant way to each other. So let me go ahead and click cancel. So now you guys have learned slice, you've learned weld, and you've learned attach. Okay, now we're going to move on to the second row here. And we've already kind of covered this a little bit, but I just wanted to show you a little bit more in depth how you can resize an object. So we covered this, how you can resize it this way. But another way that you can resize this object is up here at the very top this bar over here shows the measurements here. It's got the width, that's what W stands for, and then it's got the height. And then it also has the little padlock, which allows you to lock or unlock the proportions. So let's say I wanted to make this, I know exactly what measurements my object is that I'm working with, my surface. And so I know it needs to be 2 inches wide. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna key in a 2, hit enter, okay? And now it has made my object 2 inches wide, and you can see that up here. And then over here, it makes it whatever height it needs to be. Now, if you didn't want to restrict the proportions, you can just go ahead, let me just undo this here. You can just go ahead and click on that padlock. And if I were to change the width, okay, it is resizing it. It's resizing the width, but it's not resizing the height because I unlocked it. Okay, the next function that we're going to do is flip. And it's super easy. I'm just gonna click on this right over here, and you'll notice at the top, next to where we were working with the size, you'll notice that it says flip. And so if you click on that, you can see that you can either flip your object horizontally or you could flip it vertically. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip it horizontally. And there it is. Super easy, right? Next is the rotate function. And we had covered this earlier when we were looking at these 4 corners. And what you can do is you can either just click and drag and rotate it however you wish. Now, if you wanted to kind of restrict it to certain key degrees, like if I hit down my shift key and I click and drag this rotate button, you'll see that it kind of goes, I think that's, I want to say, let's see, well, this is a 90-degree angle, and this is probably 45. So whatever half of 45 is, those are the increments that it goes in. So it kind of keeps it so that you can make it vertically or horizontally. The other way of what you can do, just click on this again, is up here at the top, it says rotate, and you could be really precise about the number of degrees that you wanted to rotate it. So let's say I wanted to make it 90 degrees, okay? Or let's say I wanted to make it 180 degrees. Okay, so it's allowing you to be more precise with the degrees that you would like to do that with. And just I just keyed in the number, and then I just hit the return or enter key on my keyboard. Okay, we are almost done here. We've only got 3 more. And so this one, arrange, this is going to be really useful to you guys. So you can see that I've got a sort of a lime colored or yellowish colored circle, a lime colored circle, and then I've got this darker green colored circle, and they are overlapping each other. So you can kind of see over here on the right hand corner, we've got our layers, and you can also see that the darker green one is on the top, the lime one is in the middle, and then the yellow one is on the bottom. Now there's a couple of different ways that I can change the way that it's arranged. The first way is I can actually click and drag. I should be able to do this. Click and drag it to a different location. That's the hard way. The easier way is just to click on the one that you want to move. So let's say I want to click on the dark green one, and then up at the top, you can see this icon that says arrange, and you click on it, and you can determine which makes the most sense to you. So let's say I wanted to send this to the back. So what it's doing is it's actually sending it down to the very bottom of all of the layers. Okay, or if I wanted to send it just backward, all it's doing is it's moving it back by 1 layer. So you can kind of play around with that and see what those do for you. All right, the next one is the align. Now you can see I've got these rounded squares over here, and they're all kind of in funky locations. And what I want to do is I want to align them in a single line. So I'm going to click and drag all 4 of these. Okay, and then what I'm going to do up here at the top where it says align, I'm going to click on this, and you can see I have different options for how I can align this. I can align this all left. Oops, didn't mean to do that, but you can see what I'm doing. So click that. You can align left. You can align, you can center it vertically. Okay, and then what you can also do, you'll notice that when I centered it vertically, I've got a small space here and a big space here and kind of a medium space here, but I really want them all to be sort of evenly distributed. So I'm going to click again on this arrow, and at the very bottom you can see the distribute buttons, so I can either distribute them horizontally or vertically. So let me distribute the spacing horizontally, and you can see that they are perfectly spaced in between all of those. So that is a really convenient thing to know how to do. And here is the last one. You guys have made it to the end of this lesson. All right, so here we are on the last one. This is the color sync option. Now this is really convenient for when you have a bunch of different colors on your screen, but you only have a couple of colors of vinyl. And so you don't want these to cut on separate mats. So what you can do, we've talked about the layers panel over here, but what you didn't see is over here on the right-hand side, there is one called Color Sync. And it says up at the top, this panel allows you to sync colors to use fewer materials. To change colors, drag and drop an object onto the layer of your desired color. So what you can do, so in this instance, so I want all these colors to be purple. What you can do is you can click this layer and drag it over to the purple, and now I've changed the color over to purple. And the same thing with the lighter blue color. You can click and drag it over to purple, and now they're both purple. Another way that you can change color, if you would like, is to click and drag whichever options you'd like. And over here at the top, left-hand side, you can click on the purple, and then you can actually change the color that way. So there's all these different colors. You guys have completed this lesson, and now you know a whole bunch of functions and techniques that you can use as you're using Cricut Design Space. Now, if I wanted to save this project, what you can do up here at the top right-hand corner, you can click Save, and you could call it, you know, let's see, Design Space Tutorial by Better Life Blog. That's kind of a mouthful, but go ahead and click Save, and now when you go back to the home page, you will see it as one of your recent projects, and you can pick up wherever you left off.
Now you know the basics of using your software, and next we are going to create this mug using adhesive vinyl. Coming up, you'll make these 4 projects. They're easy enough for a beginner, but they'll teach you the foundations you need to create so many amazing things with your machine. After that, if you want to go further and stretch your creativity with some spectacular projects and thoughtfully designed cut files, I want to invite you to join VIP Crafters Club. It's a monthly subscription where I come up with a new project each month for us all to make together, and you'll get a new surprise set of cut files each month. You'll also get access to an entire library of all of our past projects and cut files. We even do live crafting each month. Now, this is a premium group, so it isn't free. However, if you keep your eyes peeled, you will see a great discount coming up a bit later on in this course. So stick around, stay tuned, and keep your eyes peeled. And I'll see you in the next unit.